Okay, for those watching the replay here, just waiting for people to log on. It's going to give it a few minutes, so if you watch the replay here, just fast forward a little bit. And to see my mouth moving. Hey, what's going on, CJ? Just waiting for a few more people to log on here. It's going to be an interesting topic here, I tell you. So, yeah, put your seatbelt on, man, because it's going to be some earth, basically it's going to shatter people's entire life, basically, of everything they thought, they were taught to believe and everything else. So I just want to get the stuff out here before I get banned off Facebook and everything else. So I'm going to start coming out with real truth, unsugar-coated, and, without being censored, and hopefully I don't get shut off Facebook here. So, I'm going to use my time valuable. So just waiting for a couple more people, and when I get into this, because this is real earth-shattering stuff. Yeah, well, I know you're smart, brother, so, it's not, I'm not probably telling you anything different. It's, the masses out there, the general public who thinks everything's peachy, or a president's going to save the day, or, whatever the case, and it's, the average person out there who thinks, everything. Hey, what's up, Richard? Which is another awake person here, Richard Doherty. So he knows what's going on too. So the stuff I'm going to talk about, a lot of you guys have been watching me, and a lot of people like CJ here and Richard who are already awake about this stuff. So this is like redundant to you guys probably, but it's got to be life-shattering to a lot of people. Investigating the Diana corpse, CPS. Yeah, man, that's crazy. I want to look more into the Diana corpse there, because I learned about that a while ago too, with the CPS connection. But man, it's crazy, man. It really is. So I got a few people logging on here. So for new people here, I'm Dan Bidondi, host of TruthRadioShow.com, and the things I want to talk about, because if you look all over the world, this country is in chaos, and this world's in chaos. So QAnon, red flag laws. Yeah, red flag laws are crazy, man. Well, I'll get into that in a little while, but basically what's going on here, all the chaos in the world, especially in this country, man, it's by design. We got all these mass shootings going on. We got police getting shot, well, allegedly, because, I don't know, man, this is crazy stuff. But we got all this stuff going on all over the world in this country and everything else, and people need answers. People are like, what the hell is going on? Why is everything so chaotic? Well, I'll tell you why everything's so chaotic. And now, I don't mean to violate anybody's religious beliefs, whatever philosophical view you have. Respectfully, that's your right to have that. But hear mine out for us, because this is what the elite believe. This is how they operate, what they operate on, and how they operate on. So regardless of what you believe, you can believe in Buddha, whatever the case, whatever. God bless you. But this is what the elite go by, and this is what they attack, okay? They don't attack Buddha, they don't attack Islam or anything like that, okay? They attack Christianity. And that's basically one of the main bases of what's going on here. And there's a lot involved here. So basically, those of you out there probably going to say, oh, here we go, rolling your eyes behind your head, thinking, because what I'm going to bring up, the Illuminati. Okay, you got people like Manly P. Hall, all right, Gerald Garner, all these people found different religions, cults, and everything else. These so-called philosophers like Albert Pike and Manly P. Hall, all these prominent people came along through the ages, especially the 18 and 1900s. There was a big push for this stuff. So what happened was in the 1700s, I'm going to start from fresh, there was a man named Adam Weishaupt. Okay, he was a professor in canon law. He was a Jesuit too. Lived in Bavaria, Germany. Now, in the 1500s, the Order of the Illuminati was formed by Ignatius Loyola. He was the creator of the Society of Jesus, known as the Jesuit Order. It was the dark side of the Vatican, which the Vatican's dark anyway. So, basically, he created the Order of the Illuminati. And you're going to get another episode. Yeah, I'm going to be doing a show with them Monday or Tuesday on Now You See TV. On the Cutting Edge show, and I will probably be on the Midnight Ride hopefully soon with John Pounders and David Carrico. Love those guys. But what happened was the Illuminati, they were underground, they were in the Vatican and everything else. So when the public started getting aware of them, wait a minute, there's something, because what happened is Ignatius Loyola, he presented this to the Pope. The Pope says no. I forgot the Pope's name at the time. I think it was Pope Gregory, I believe. But it was too revealing and everything else, so he created the order of the Jesuit order, the Order of Jesus, the Society of Jesus, known as the Jesuit Order. And also at the time they had other groups that formed as well, but the Illuminati hid within that order. So when people started getting wise to the Illuminati, they had their fellow Jesuit, a professor in canon law in 1776, a guy by the name of Adam Weishaupt in Bavaria, Germany. He officially publicly formed the Order of the Illuminati, May 1st, 1776. May 1st is the satanic holiday of Beltane, and not a coincidence. So this was formed on that particular holiday because everything the elite do, everything these occultists do, it's always on some kind of a ritual date or whatever the case. And so people need to understand before we go any further, okay, these philosophers that came along, artists like Da Vinci and all these other people, not one single one of these people were atheists. People need to get that through your heads, okay? You hear about people like Einstein being an atheist or this. No, none of these people were atheists. They're very smart, absolutely. Probably the smartest people of their time. Not taking that away from them. But they were not atheists, okay? That's what the problematic system is, that to teach people lies of history. And just like the lie of history that Hitler, which we're going to get into Hitler later too, that he was a Christian. It was a joke. He was not a Christian. Okay, he was an occultist as well. So again, regardless of what you believe, this is what the elite believe. And so basically, Adam Weishaupt formed the Order of the Illuminati. It's got a scratchy throat here. All right, there we go. I just got over some bad allergies. So the order, basically when he formed the Order of the Illuminati, May 1st, 1776, in Bavaria, Germany, it broke the ties away from the Vatican. So now people are like, all right, they have nothing, the Catholic Church has nothing to do with the Illuminati. So they staged this fake war with the Illuminati, and yes, they did go after people and killing them. Now, the Knights Templar were involved as well, because at the same time, King Philip the Fair of France, I believe, that was hunting the Knights Templar down. And no, the Knights Templar never went nowhere. The Illuminati never went nowhere. Because what happened was a courier was struck by lightning. One of the Illuminati couriers, he was bringing the information to their secretary. This is in John Robison's book. Something I forget the name of the book is. John Robison's book, A Conspiracy, basically about the Illuminati. Proofs of a Conspiracy, I'm sorry. I read it twice, so I should remember that. Proofs of a Conspiracy, that's in his book there. John Robison was secretary for Adam Weishaupt. And so basically, there was a courier bringing the information somewhere, and he was struck by lightning. Now, some Russians came across the information. They seen in the information about that conquest, a world dominant conquest, and how they're going to do it, what they're going to do, and everything else. So right away, when this word got out to all the European nations of what the Illuminati were about, who they're about, and what they're about to do, and all the sinister people behind them, world bankers and everything else, quickly many nations went to war with the Illuminati. They went to war with the Knights Templar. They went to war with all these major secret societies. So what happened was that it was 1779. In the castle of Wilhelmsbad, all the kingpins, okay, from the Jesuits, the Jacobins, the Illuminati, the Knights Templar, which never went nowhere. Yes, they were hunted down and killed, but the groups never went anywhere. They were never abolished or never ceased. What happened was they all got together in this one major council. All the leaders of these secret societies got together in this one major council, and at the time the Masonic lodges were called the Mother Lodges. So in 1779 in the castle of Wilhelmsbad, they merged together. From the Mother Lodge, they created the Order of Freemasonry, which was already out and about beforehand anyway, because they were trying to present it to the public, and the public expected nothing from it. Just a bunch of guys getting together, they expected nothing from it. So what they did was they created a secret society within the secret society. So granted, the Mother Lodge at the time was the biggest lodges in Europe, the Masonic lodges. They had many members, good people too, whatever, and 90+% of the members had no clue at all. Even Grand Sovereign Generals with 33 degrees, most of these people had no clue who these people were or they actually existed in that order. So they became a secret society within the secret society and kept their world dominant plans. Now what happened was how the Illuminati got this big, okay? First of all, in Germany, okay, when the Illuminati was building up steam, they created a thing called the German Union. Now this sounds a lot like what's going on today. The German Union at the time, of course, they didn't have TV, they didn't have radio, they relied on press, like books and newspapers and everything else. So what they got together is they took a bunch of authors, a bunch of well-known journalists, put them all together to write propaganda, brainwashing material to the general public. This was called the German Union. Now it spread through Germany and throughout Europe to condition the people on a mass basis. And so basically when the Illuminati went underground with the Knights Templar and all that, they got funded by the Rothschild family. Now the Rothschild, everybody should know, the Rothschild is the biggest, the richest people on the face of the planet. They seen the world dominant plan and they wanted to invest with this. So that's why the Rothschild became the ears of the Illuminati, the family of the Illuminati. And if anybody read that book, the Bloodlines of the Illuminati, awesome book. Anyway, they merged together and they got financially backed by the biggest bankers on the planet. So now they had a lot of influence from the German Union and they were infecting a lot of media at the time. Again, it was just newspapers and books and authors, whatever, at libraries and everything else, and had speakers go to different places to speak, infecting people with this Illuminism. Not directly, but they use subverting tactics to subdue people. So what they came across over the years, basically the Statue of Liberty, we're going to get into that in a minute, there's nothing to do with liberty at all. Nothing, like all the stuff you learn about the Statue of Liberty, nothing at all to do with the truth, okay? So all this stuff comes into play. So now they wanted to spread this world dominance plan. Now, to the society, to Europeans, the people, mostly the public, I should say, they thought the Illuminati were abolished. They thought the Knights Templar were abolished. They thought all these sinister organizations were gone and dead, So they had no idea that they were within the Masonic lodges. Again, the public already knew what Masonic lodges was. They expected little from it, and they're like, oh, it's just a Masonic lodge, and expect nothing from it. So they had no idea that the sinister organization rested within this order. And again, 90% of the Masons involved had no idea this existed either. So the thing is, with these top orders, you don't get to pick. You don't say, I want to be an Illuminati, I want to do. No, that's not how it works, okay? They pick their adepts, their initiates, okay? They're the ones that go after them, and even then you don't know who they are. I mean, it's a tall order of initiations you got to go through. And so I was fortunate enough over the years to become friends with 2 former Illuminati members. I had them on my show. They're Christians now, authors, and one, rest in peace, Joseph Marquise. Me and him became very good friends over the years. He was like 79 before he died. Actually 85, I believe it was, whatever. But God rest his soul, he died last year. And so I became good friends with him over the years. I learned abundance of information, and I became good friends with a woman named Cisco Wheeler. She wrote the book Behold the White Horse and helped to write Bloodlines of the Illuminati and many other books. Well, she was a former Mothers of Darkness member, born into it and everything else, initiated to it at a young age, and that's a woman's sect, basically, the Illuminati. And to know these people, and Bill Schnoebelen from WithOneAccord.org, he's a former Illuminati as well. To get to know these people on a personal level, I've learned a lot of information, a lot of stuff that the general public doesn't know. And if you knew what goes on to these places, I mean, you don't need to turn on the sci-fi TV or the horror movies you see on TV or whatever. none of that compares to what the actual truth is. If you knew the truth, it'd scare the crap out of you. But anyway, this divisive plan, this world dominance plan, now if you take, like right now, look what's going on in the world, understand what's going on, and the attacks and everything else. So now take a note of this, okay? This was part, okay, 5 major priorities of the Illuminati. There's more, but these are the major ones. Doc Marquis, again, being, he was a 4th generation member of the Illuminati. His father, his grandfather, and great-grandfather were prominent members in the Illuminati. And anyway, these are the 5 major factors, and it all relates today of what's going on. So number 1, their main goal was the destruction of Christianity in all monarchical governments. That's why they're overthrowing governments everywhere. You see all chaos going on, division in this country, blaming presidents, whatever the case. Here in America, you see it going to hell. To do that, they have to divide the people first. That's the strategic order. You divide the people from within and destroy it from within. We're going to get into that in a few minutes. And the destruction of nations such as in favor of universal Unitarianism. And if you look around, what are they promoting? Universal religion. The Pope Francis there and the United Nations, they're promoting their false one world government fake religion. That's what they're promoting. And that's all part of the Illuminati's agendas. And also part of Karl Marx, okay, another guy I forgot to mention, he wrote the Communist Manifesto, which a lot of morons today love quoting and honoring Karl Marx, the so-called philosopher, him and Manly P. Hall. And if they knew the truth of who these people actually were, they would take their philosophy books and just burn them. And number 3 was the discouragement of patriotic and loyal efforts branded as narrow-minded prejudice. And look at today. This is stuff that was written back in the 1700s. The discouragement of patriotic and loyal effort branded as narrow-minded prejudice, incapable with the tenets of goodwill to all men and a cry of universal brotherhood. That was going on today. People who are patriots, who are loyal to their country, putting their own country first, they are chastising to call us racist when we're not, to discourage anybody to be patriotic. That's why you have VIP people out there pissing on the American flag, being disrespectful of the American flag, to say it's racist when it's not, when that symbol is actually to fight tyranny and all that. So right there, the discouragement of patriotic. That's what's going on right here today. This is part of the Illuminati's plans. And 4, the abolition of family ties and marriage by means of systematic corruption. Look what's going on today. All the sexual perversion, the LGBTs running wild. Okay, I'm not against gay people, whatever, but the LGBT at the top, they're systematically destroying the family. They're going after parents, traditional marriage parents, and everything else. You can see it all over the country. Yeah, divide and conquer, exactly, and that's where Hitler got his tactics from. It's from, again, the abolishment of family ties and marriage and by the means of systematic corruption. And this is part of Adam Weishaupt's plans to overthrow this entire planet. And 5, the suppression of the rights of inheritance and property. Now look everywhere. Private property is under attack. Even though you own your own property, the state or government still says, hey, we have a piece of that, you have to pay us. Even though you own that property, you have to pay taxes on it. And if you don't, they come confiscate it, and you have to even though you own the property, you got to get a permit to put a shed in your yard. You got to ask the government, city, state, or federal government to put something on your own property. And in most places, they're trying to abolish private property. That's one of the main goals of the United Nations Agenda 21. And everything I've read to you, everything, okay, is all part of the Communist Manifesto, all part of what's called Agenda 21 or Agenda 2030. It's the same thing because it's the 21st century. It's an agenda set by the United Nations to destroy private property, to abolish sovereign citizens' rights in sovereign countries' governments. You're seeing this happening today, to the T, exactly as the Illuminati planned this out. And so people need to understand, you need to get right with God, because I'm telling you right now, this stuff is coming down the pipe. And it took them years to actually stop pushing this stuff, because now what happened was that when the United States came, And the United States came about, this country became a rock. And now, granted, most of the Founder Fathers, they were either deists or they were into the occult themselves. Okay, so when I say the founders, I'm talking about the regular people, the other people other than the Founder Fathers who were involved in fighting for this country and creating this country. You know what I mean? So 90+% of them were Christians. Okay, that's a fact. It's not here to be disputed or debated. That's a fact. Most of Americans were Christians. Almost everybody went to church every weekend. It was a family thing. You know, I mean, they taught the Bible in school. The old Deluded Satan Act in 1636 purposely created the public schools for one reason, was to teach the Bible, to teach men and women and children to read and write so they could learn the Bible so they would not be deceived by the Dark Ages. The first 121 colleges in America were all created under Christian Judeo principles and values. That's a fact, okay? It's not a debate, it's not a conspiracy, that's the fact, okay? Regardless if you believe in God or not, that's your personal right and opinion, I'm not going to fringe on that, but that's the facts, okay? You can't erase history. So, the Illuminati seen this country, now, again, before it's founded, both sides of the fence loved this country. That's why New York was the new, they called it the gateway to the New World. Everybody that came from here, other countries, all got processed on Ellis Island, which is Liberty Island, whatever. And so they seen America as a threat because now, all right, even though both sides took place in creating this country, America, God's land, and new land, they called it the New Atlantis. Sir Francis Bacon did. They knew about this land long before Columbus existed, which Columbus was a Knights Templar. A lot of people don't know that. So the Knights Templar were here hundreds of years long before Columbus was even thought of in his great-grandfather's eye. You know what I mean? So they were here long before that, and there's tons of history right here in Rhode Island, proof of that as well. What happens, they seen America as a threat, because now they established their New Atlantis, sure, but they didn't take the fact that, hey, Christians overthrew the UK, because their goal was for the United Kingdom to come here, establish the land, and the New England, and to create this perfect utopia. That was their goals, but they didn't count on Christians rising up against them and overthrowing them and creating America, which means God's land. Here in Rhode Island, the founder of Rhode Island, Roger Williams, he created Rhode Island, state of Rhode Island at the time, because he made it a safe haven for Christians and Puritans to come here without persecution from England, because England wanted everybody to be forced into the Church of England. So he made it as a safe haven, made a law that everybody had to have a weapon on them at all times, and so basically to keep you safe from religious persecution, keep you safe so the English wouldn't infringe on your firearm rights. So he named his capital city Providence, which means in God's care. Not a coincidence at all. So, again, a lot of history gets distorted, and the Ten Commandments at one time, for hundreds of years, the Ten Commandments were at every state capital across this country. There was a copy of the Ten Commandments on a statue or on the walls, on every state capital across this country at one time. And until the last 20 years or so, when they started removing these things, now they erase history. And people think today, this ain't a Christian nation, whatever. Sure, some of the founders weren't, but this country itself was established on the Christian Judeo principles. That's why public schools were, and even George Washington. Now, George Washington, when he seen how the American Indians were interested in this new belief and everything, he granted them, say, all right, you fought with us in the war, during the Revolution, we'll give you some of your land back, but for your interest in beliefs, we're going to give you guys free schooling, in which you made the American Indians able to go to college for free, because at the time the colleges taught the Bible. A public school back then, for hundreds of years, up into the 1900s. A public school, when you went into your public school from kindergarten and on, what'd you learn? You learned history, you learned civics and everything else, and you learned the Bible. They taught the Bible in public schools. It was normal. They had prayers and everything else. It was normal. And most of the schools were the churches too. Churches and town halls all in one, whatever the case in some places. This was normal. But today people have no idea any of this, and they think, where the hell is this guy getting this from? Because you've been lied to and distorted. The thing is, if the people who run this planet, basically, if they could change history, they own you. You know what I mean? And that's what they're trying to do. So all this has been not predicted, but planned by the Illuminati hundreds of years ago. And it goes back further. I mean, it goes back to the Tower of Babel and everything else. That's a long, long story altogether. So I'm going to stick with the modern day, last 300 years, just to say, of what's happened and all these people that were involved with this and why everything's all chaotic today. And everything I read you, all 5 of those priorities I've read you, okay? Every one of them, written back in the 1700s by Adam Weishaupt and his people, every single one of them a relation to what is going on today. Every single one of them. Again, we'll go one more time and take, just close your eyes for a minute. Think of everything that's going on in the world, especially those people out there who know what's going on in the world. These riots, divisions, revolutions, all this stuff going on all over the world in this country. Take a look again. This is what the plans were by the Illuminati that was passed down to people like Karl Marx and Albert Pike, who wrote the Communist Manifesto, Karl Marx did, and Albert Pike in his writings, Manly P. Hall in his writings, The Secret Teachings of All Ages, and all these other books he had. All the stuff is in there. And they told you exactly in the books, and the thing is, these books were not available to the public. And most of the time that you can't find these books in the public libraries. You can't find these books at your local bookstores. You have to specially order these books and find them online, because these books, they do not want these books in the public. Especially Albert Pike's books, Morals and Dogma. Right in the book it says it's only for higher level degree Masons, and that to be returned to the lodge if that Mason passes. So these books are not available to the public. You will not find this at your public library or any of your bookstores at all. You have to specially order these books from people like myself who have them and sell them and everything else. So anyway, again, one more time, these top 5 priorities, then we'll move on. The destruction of Christianity in all monarchical governments. What's going on today? Christians are the number 1 targets. Anything to do with Christianity, they take it down. The 10 Commandments, prayers out of school, they're ripping it all apart, and they're destroying all monarchical governments. They're causing divide within, and it's all chaos everywhere. And number 2, the destruction of nations such as in favor of universal Unitarianism. And 3, the discouragement of patriotic and loyal efforts branded as narrow-minded, prejudiced people. That's today. They call them patriots. Terrorists, they call them patriots, racists and everything else, incapable of the tenets of goodwill to men and cry of universal brotherhood. So basically anybody that's not calling for a universal religion, like the Pope, the false prophet, I call him, in the United Nations, calling for this ecumenical movement, one world government, one world religion, if you're not for that, you are against them. You are a complete terrorist. You're narrow-minded. You're a prejudiced bastard. That's what they say right here. And number 4, the abolition of family ties and of marriage by means of systematic corruption. They are destroying the American traditional family. Everywhere. You got CPS attacking traditional families, but yet you could have LGBT, have all the sexual perversion in the world, have their little 7-year-old dance around like a little fag, whatever, and put them on stage. Probably gonna get banned for saying that, but who cares? And it's the truth, you know what I mean? So they put these little kids on stage, sexually exploit them, and that's okay. But yeah, you teach our children traditional biblical values, and you're targeted. And that's right there in number 4. Number 5, the suppression of rights of inheritance in property. And they're attacking private property, folks. They're attacking all your civil liberties. And look what's going on, all these mass shootings, which most of them, they're false flags. Okay, I'm going to put it out that way. They're either manufactured, staged, or encouraged to commit these acts of violence to push a narrative to take your firearms. Because they see the Second Amendment is the only obstacle they have for the New World Government. That's what the United Nations openly admitted. That's why they created the Small Arms Treaty, to try to disarm the American people. Openly stating this stuff. And this is all on documentation. But anyway, basically, and so America was seen as the New World. Okay, so people coming from far and wide to become citizens of this great country. And it was great. So what happened was the Statue of Liberty. Now, during the French Revolution, people think that the monarch started the food shortages. They bring up an old fairy tale that Marie Antoinette said, "Oh, let them eat cake." It was a derogatory statement against their own people. No, they regurgitated that comment. She was talking about something else when she was younger. Had nothing to do with the food shortage. And they regurgitated it as she just said it to the public. You know what I mean? So it caused a public outrise. Now it's the Illuminati and the Jacobins who are causing the food shortages, blaming the monarchical system. Now, this is how much the king and the queen loved their own people. When the people were coming to kill them, okay, their guards told them, we will protect you. And the king said this, he goes, you will not fire one shot upon my people. You will not harm my people. But sire, they're going to kill you. Well, let it be then. And that's how much he loved his own people. The people came, stormed the castle, bang, killed them both. And so basically you had all this chaos going in France, which created this huge French revolution. And the church there that got burned down in France there, okay, Notre Dame. Now what happened was that, Notre Dame was the highest, holiest place in all of France. And so what happened was the Illuminati, out of disrespect, they took a half-naked prostitute, and this was a ritual that was done, okay? This is a satanic Luciferian ritual that was done. They took a half-naked prostitute and put her on the high altar in Notre Dame. They gave her a crown on her head to signify the Queen of Reason. They put a torch in her hand to signify the illuminated one, Lucifer. Okay, this is facts, okay? People in France know this, people in England know this. This is, taught in history over there. Even though people here in America, it's conspiracy, you know what I mean, whatever. But so what happened was a guy named Frederick Bartholdi. He was a 33-degree Freemason. He created, him and his couple of people created his 3 statues of her. 2 in France, and they say one came here by accident to New York City. No, it was not by accident. Not at all. That's the lie in the history books. They say it was a gift from the French to the American people for the help during the wars. And all. No, it was not a gift at all from French to the American people. It was from the French Masonic lodges to the American Masonic lodges. So to cover all that up, they told them, oh yeah, it's a gift from France to the people of the United States. No, it's not anything near the truth at all. So the Statue of Liberty, because New York was the gateway to the New World, the New Atlantis, okay, and the occultic view, they had to bless and adorn the gateway to the New World with the light and blessings and guardianship of Lucifer. So they put her on an 11-pointed stomach. Go on Google right now, type in Statue of Liberty, Sky View, whatever. She stands on an 11-pointed star, which is a symbol of the beast. It's a seal of the beast. Okay, and she overlooks New York Harbor, blessing the gateway to the New World with the light of Lucifer. Nothing to do with the liberty she has on the book. It's not the liberty that me and you and people else fight for and everything else. No, it's not that liberty. It's their liberty from God. That's what it's about. Okay, the light of Lucifer adorns the city of New York. Okay, and if you go, if anybody's ever been to the statue, you'll see. Just all the symbolism engraved all throughout the statue, inside and out. And it's very, very satanic, and most people don't even know it's there. It's right in the face. They won't even know it's there. So they had to create these monuments to do this. And now to you, it's just a statue. Oh, it's no big deal, it's a statue. In the spiritual world, it's not just a statue, okay? These things actually bring these demonic, seething energies into the land and cause chaos and everything else. Now there's 2 philosophies the elite work off of. Okay, it's called problem, reaction, solution, or order of chaos. Okay, now to push an order, just say I'm a governor, right? And for example, I'm a governor or a president, whatever, and I'm saying, all right, we want to eliminate free speech. People are like, yeah, right. If you do, we'll have an uprising, there'll be a revolution. All right, so we know that. I mean, being elite, we know that. So our psychology would be this: we create the reaction, we create the problem. Like you stage something or whatever to create the problem that would offer a solution to the public, so they willingly accept. Oh, you know what? All this stuff going on, all this bad stuff. You like the guns today? All these shootings going on, and people are saying, you know what? Maybe we should give up the guns, to stop all this mass shooting. No, it's not going to stop it, because just bad people they're not going to turn their guns in. So they suffocate the people over and over again. Because 100 years ago, when you told the public we're going to take the Second Amendment away, they're like, yeah, come and try it, and we'll put a bullet right in your head. 50 years ago, same thing. 10 years ago, the same thing. Even today, most of the public are saying the same thing. You come try to take our firearms, we're going to put a bullet right in your damn head. I don't care who you are, government, state, city, UN, it doesn't matter. And now it's less and less people, and they're slowly indoctrinating the kids in the schools and everything to make them accept this. Now, again, you create the problems, okay, when the public doesn't know you're the ones doing it. So it gets so bad that the public's like, oh my God, I had enough. Every day is a shoot now. People getting killed because of them. They're the ones creating the problems, enabling people to do this, encouraging it, creating these staged events as well. Fake, some of them are fake. And so it desensitizes the public, so they come to a point, you know what? Here, just take my Second Amendment. I'm sick of people dying. And boom, you are over. It is done and over. Say goodbye to the Constitution altogether. So that's one example of what they're trying to do. So again, the top 5 priorities of the Illuminati are all in play right now in this country. And look at these shootings that just took place. 200 sponsors. This is serious. Our idiot Congressman David Cicilline here in Rhode Island, he's been pushing this bill for years now to ban semi-automatic weapons and high-capacity magazines. Now he's got over 200 sponsors right now in the Senate, in the Congress, to all try to push this bill to make it to law, which is unconstitutional. But for the sake of time, we'll talk about that other stuff later. But the point of this video is to explain to people how the Illuminati to this day is still affecting things. And again, I know a lot of people got to roll their eyes. You could just roll your eyes in ignorance all you want. That's fine. Okay, and that's the thing about people here. They're so cocky and confident. They think, I got an education in Harvard University. Ha ha, these people are idiots, conspiracy theorists, whatever. It's not a conspiracy, okay, because the Illuminati are a huge part of American history as well as European history. They got museums in Europe dedicated to this stuff. Okay, in Bavaria in Germany, there's a huge museum of the Illuminati. And the thing is, they recognize history. They're not exalting it, no. They're showing people, hey, this is history, and those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. That's why they're ripping history out of this country. They're taking statues down, monuments, and everything else, even though some of them may be bad, but the thing is that those are a reminder of our history, so we don't repeat it again. So, what the elite trying to do is remove that history, especially these younger kids have no idea. They took civics out of school. That's why the kids today have no idea what the Constitution is. They get a shallow, narrow version from their dipshit teachers. Excuse my language. It just gets me mad. That's why I swear like that. I apologize for that language. But these teachers, I can't describe to you, most of these teachers are complete lunatics. Without that textbook, you should see half these teachers. They literally belong in a mental institution. They're on psychotropic drugs. I'm not even going to get into that right now. But, hey, good morning, Norman. So, basically, their indoctrination of the children. Now, this goes into Hitler and everything else, too. What did Hitler do? Okay, Hitler worked off the Communist Manifesto. Now, people think, Hitler was a Christian, and that's why they use that to chastise Christians. Now, he was grown up, he was born as a Catholic, grew up as a Catholic. Now, Catholics and Christians are two different things, okay? People need to understand that. Now, today, yes, when you look into the category of Christians, you're going to see Charismatics, Assembly of God, even Jehovah's Witnesses and Mormons and Catholics in that one category. Years ago, it wasn't like that. No, Catholics and Christians are two different things. They teach a false version of Jesus, and they use the catechism more than the Bible, and real Christians just use the Bible. Two different operations, okay? So let's get that straight right here. So basically, this is what's going on, the confusion in the land. So what they did is they came into this country, and they set up a systematic divide. So they seen how this country is so strong because politics and religion, because when you grow up, you get told, never talk about politics and religion, stay away from that. And that's exactly where they want you because they don't want a conscious public. They don't care if you get involved with religion or politics. And they keep you at a subtle level. Pastors today, when they go to the Bible academies and colleges and all that, and priests, they don't get taught anything at all compared to what the Bible really teaches. That much Bible. Then they teach people that much Bible when there's this much Bible. And they do that purposely and systematically to keep the information at a low. Okay, and they do that in politics too, to divide you in politics, right wing versus left wing, when both of them work together. People don't see that at the top, how the Republicans and Democrats work together. They're buddies, okay? It's like professional wrestling. Behind the stage, we go to dinner together, laugh and have fun, and laugh at you guys for believing in the crap. That's what goes on in the White House. I mean, and people are so dumbed down today, and that they got into our system, a political system, when George Washington warned us, stay away from political parties, because they've seen how they divided the people in Europe, the political parties. So they came into this country, two corporate parties, okay, went clashing to the public, they're clashing, okay, and at the top they're working together to cause systematic divide. First, what they did was, they started dividing the people politically. Then they got into the religions. Now, the 1800s and 1900s was the spawning of hundreds of religions, and not a coincidence that every one of these people who created these religions and these occults, all of them had many things in common. Most of them knew each other. They worked together. They were all coming off the same philosophy, you know what I mean, to divide the people. And there's a thing called Frankenism. It's a German word. Frankenism is infiltration. What they would do, the Illuminati, if they seen, right in your local towns, they seen this big church in your town. They had 95% of the church, your town going to that church. And now what they would do is they would put a person in there, a very inspirational person, somebody who had a lot of money that would go into the church, become a member, get to know everybody, be friendly with them, donate tons of money to the church, help them build a new building, get very influential, get very loved by the people, even become a politician or something. And so they support the church and they're doing all this good stuff. Then when they get to that very point where they are more influential than just as influential as the pastor, what they do is they create their own sect of that religion. They take people out and they divide it. So when they take people out of there, they have his buddies that divide them from within, and it's all systematic by design. Now, if you get into Wicca and Satanism, now the Church of Satan today is a joke. I mean, the Temple of Satan, the Temple of Set, a joke. Okay, Wicca is a joke. What they did was, because Satanism, witchcraft were heavily outlawed in this country, they created Wicca with Gerald Garner, and they created the Church of Satan with Anton LaVey. Not a coincidence, both of them ran in with Aleister Crowley. So they created these churches and whatever, and religions to fool the public, say, hey, look, we're not bad no more, so don't outlaw us. So the government stopped outlawing it, because it showed that real good, there you are, good people were involved with the Church of Satan in Wicca. And they indoctrinated good people just to conceal, like they did with the Illuminati and Masonry, just to conceal what goes on behind the curtain. Now, most of the people in Wicca and the Church of Satan had no idea that Gerald Garner and Anton LaVey were doing some dark, cynical stuff. No idea. And so they made these to conceal to the public what was really going on, to put on a fake public front. So they created the Church of Mormons. I mean, well, that's a totally whacked out religion with Joseph Smith. Then you got Charles Taze Russells for the Jehovah's Witnesses. I mean, again, he was another big influential off of Aleister Crowley. All these people all off the whole the Hermetic order of the Golden Dawn, that kind of philosophy, Albert Pike, and then you had Madame P. Blavatsky and Henry Wallace, I mean, which was the vice president, Nicholas Warwick, and there's a lot of names, so I'm trying to put these people in order. So Nicholas Warwick, which Aleister Crowley learned a lot from him, and he went on and taught people like Charles Taze Russell, or influenced these people, H.P. Lovecraft as well, Anton LaVey, and so on, and even what's the name from NASA there that created the rocket, whatever, Alan Parsons, okay? Alan Parsons created the rocket, and he was an engineer genius, but they don't tell you he was an occultist, okay? And all this stuff was designed purposely to come into this country, take religion and politics out of the public, and basically just reform them, but all messed up and divided from each other. So now they got the whole country right now, they're all divided. People have different religions, and everybody's fighting with each other, and that's exactly where they want you to be. So now that's why you have all these groups being allowed, like Antifa and all that, to go attack people, and the authorities do nothing about it, because they're all hoping that we all kill each other off, and they're trying to take our gun rights at the meantime so we can't defend ourselves. So when we all kill each other off, whatever the case, they're going to come swooping in as the saviors, and this is why we need to suspend the Constitution and Bill of Rights, and they're most likely going to do this. Because people fell asleep at the wheel, they've forgotten God, they've forgotten what this country was really about, and yes, the Antifa are definitely terrorists. That's exactly right. And most of these Antifa people are Luciferians. I mean, they're Satanists, you know what I mean? And don't let anybody fool you when anybody from the Church of Satan says they're atheist, because there's no such thing as an atheist that worships Satan. It's ridiculous. Atheism is Satanism. It's Satan's biggest #1 accomplishment, to get people to believe he or God doesn't exist, because that's where they completely dumb you down. And so the Illuminati systematically set this entire system up. And why is it happening now in America? It's been happening all over the world. It's happening now in America because America's been the biggest resistance for hundreds of years against this tolerant New World Order. Even today, right now, I mean, the Second Amendment is what is protecting us from this total tolerant utopia, and called the New World Order, the global government, whatever you want to call it. So again, anybody thinks that's all conspiracy, man, you just, you know what, do yourself a favor, shut this video off and go on and read your porn or your stupid, meaningless stuff like what Britney Spears is doing, whatever the case. So, you know, I'm not going to sit there and debate anybody. I'm not going to sit there and try to even reason with you. And if you want to stay dumbed down and keep taking that blue pill, then go on. You know, but people who want to really know what's going on, and I already told you, I read you the priorities of the Illuminati. Every single one of them that were created back in the 1700s by Adam Weishaupt, every single one of them that were regurgitated in the Communist Manifesto and Agenda 21 in the United Nations today, every single one of them are coming true right now. Every single one of them. All because a systematic design to bring in a global governance. And it's not a coincidence that almost every leader across this planet has called for a New World Order. I mean, I can show you tons and tons of videos of almost every president we had in recent years all calling for a New World Order. Almost every major political leader as well. Kings, queens, the whole 9 yards. And no, I'm not saying Trump has. I mean, Trump is actually, was surprised the heck out of me. He's actually always going against this New World Order system. Now, this Greenpeace initiative, that was designed. Now, let me explain to you how the system worked, okay? The Illuminati foiled. Okay, this is what they laid out. Okay, I was told back right before Obama won, when he wasn't even known. A person told me, and at the time I thought it was a joke. He claimed to be within the Council of Foreign Relations and of the Illuminati. He came up and told me, he goes, "Listen, this was going to go down." He goes, "There's going to be a man named Barack Obama. He's not even a citizen. He's going to become president. He's going to win 2 elections." And at the time, I didn't even know who the heck Obama was. And he goes, after that, they're going to shift the gears back over to the Republican Party, and Jeb Bush is going to be the next president after him. He was right up to that point, and the Republican Party was trying to push Jeb Bush. They brought Trump as a joke. It was going to be Bush and Clinton in the finals, okay, the last election, 2016. It was going to be Bush and Clinton there, and they were going to have Bush become president of the United States. But for some reason, God put his hand, not the Russians, God put his hand in this election, and they had no idea, the Republicans had no idea that Trump was actually going to be nominated. They had no choice to nominate Trump because of his popularity. So Jeb Bush's plans went out the window. So now plan B would be Hillary Clinton, and they did everything. Homeland Security got caught red-handed trying to rig the elections for Hillary Clinton. All the millions and millions of illegal votes they tried to use and everything else, all foiled and it was total backlash. And it foiled the whole operation. They had no plans at all of having Trump being president. To them, it was just a novelty joke to get the elections going, to get people interested in it. That's all it was to them. They had no idea that Trump was going to win. And I was told this also confirmed by my friend who was in the Illuminati, Doc Marquis, God rest his soul. He said that the Illuminati had no plans to put Trump in the White House. Their plan was to put Jeb Bush in the White House, and plan B would have been Hillary. And even that, they didn't really want Hillary because the Illuminati, they're very sexist people. Okay, they do not want women in charge of nothing. But right now they're using this women's liberation movement because they hijacked it in the 60s and 70s, this hippie movement, the women's liberation movement and all that, to get people to defy the natural order of the way God made things. You know what I mean? They want women to believe that you are better than men. And it's not about equality. That's what they preach. Equality, equality, equality. Hold on a second. I got to take my microphone out, you might hear an echo now, so I got to put my charger in. So they want women to believe that now they push equality. Well, it's not equality at all. They're pushing women to be, we don't need men, we're superior to men. That's the mentality they're pushing on people. And complete destruction, like, the priorities of the Illuminati, okay? They did this purposely to destroy the traditional family values in this country and to just take God out of this country. Because God and the Constitution are the only two obstacles they have in this country from creating this New World Order. So that's why they're attacking all these things, and it's not a coincidence. So people need to understand this. And I'm going to tell you the plans. Hold on a second. Their plans right now, okay, to push this world governance right now, because right now everything's all set. Okay, right now they got their one world religion ready. That one world religion is ready right now. That's the ecumenical movement. It's led by Pope Francis. They got hundreds, not a couple, hundreds of religions, the world's biggest religions, all under the belt of this ecumenical movement. Yes, major Christian organizations and Muslims, all under the leader, the Pope. Okay, and it's backed by the United Nations. The United Nations officially, a couple years ago, adopted this ecumenical system as their official one world religion. All right, so they got this, the framework's all set up, everything's ready to go. They got this RFID chip, okay, that's called the radio frequency identification device, that the globalists many years ago, they put in them white papers how they want to implant every human on the face of the earth with a microchip implant. So they keep track of you, and it'll be a global currency. That's their goals, okay? I'm telling you what they planned many years ago, even before computers came along. This is what they planned, okay? Because again, these people, Luciferians, they know things ahead of time of what the general public knows. So, and I know some Christians debate what the mark of the beast is. It's not a debate. This is exactly what it is. The elite do things according to what they believe, okay, according to bring that part of the prophecy, and we're going to get into that in a minute. But they have devised this whole systematic system to implant everybody with a microchip RFID implant. That puts a world currency. Now, you all been hearing it. I mean, you've seen economies crashing everywhere. The European Union, all the economies in Europe crashed, and they created the European Union out of that. The order out of chaos, or problem, reaction, solution. Same method with the economic system. They came here in America in 1913, created what? The Federal Reserve. And it took 10 years for the Federal Reserve to finally take its place as the only bank of the United States of America, because we had the Bank of the United States of America in this country and the Federal Reserve. Now, people glorify FDR, President Franklin Delaware Roosevelt. They glorify him, the leader of the Industrial Revolution and everything else. But, don't tell the public, which was in every major newspaper, he made an executive order to confiscate. You can find these newspaper clippings online. Confiscate the American people's gold. They said no longer belongs to you or us, it belongs to the Federal Reserve in 1933. So between 1933 and 1935, him and his president of agriculture, who later became his second vice president, Henry Wallace, okay, he hit both of them systematically put on the back of the dollar bill the all-CNI and the seal and all that. That's a real interesting story right there. But it meant order out of chaos. But it basically meant in the Nova Ordo Seclorum means new order of the ages, a new world order. And that was his New Deal. His New Deal was preaching all that. That's what the New Deal meant. Where Hitler, the Pope, Mussolini at the time were calling for the New Order, he was calling for the New Deal. But when they all loved each other, FDR adorned Hitler. A lot of people don't know that. He loves Hitler. Everything Hitler did. And even Hitler said, hey, listen, I want the Jews eradicated, okay? If you want to take them, I'll ship them over to you, to the United States of America, in our finest luxury ships, if you want them. We just want them gone. And FDR says, no, it's not my business. And that's how all these people got executed. And again, it's all a sense to plot to bring in the New World Order. They tried to bring the New World Order by force back then. And that's where, and the Great Seal on the back of the dollar bill, that's a whole new ball of wax altogether. I could be here for 2 hours just talking to you just about that. That's very intriguing. Long story short, it's a seal of the Illuminati, plain and simple. And it was hidden from the American public for 200 years. And it was revealed in 1933 when they put it back on in the back of the dollar bill. There's a lot of information behind that. So basically they had plotted back then to initiate this global governance. But again, it's according to God's timing and the people, patriots in this country, who kept that stuff back. I mean, and God throwing a monkey wrench in the works every time. So thanks to the Constitution, people's belief in God, and the Second Amendment, we've been able to this far, knock on wood, prolong this New World Order to come. But they got all the framework set up, folks. I mean, everything I read to you is happening now. Again, a plan that was designed almost 300 years ago. It's now in the works, and everything is going on. They got this whole global government set up. The RFID chip I was telling you about, it was systematically designed to bankrupt all the economies, to create centralized banks, which, again, the Founding Fathers wanted us to stay the hell away from, but people don't listen. So they created bankrupt all these countries to accept this central bank. Then they're going to keep consolidating all the banks until you get to the European Union, the North American Union. They were supposed to implement that during Obama. But again, their plans backfired and failed. And they're going to put all these centralization banks together, then eventually everything's going to collapse. All the economy's going to collapse by design, and now people are not going to resist the New World Order now after this. They're going to beg for one because there's going to be so much food shortages, famine, and everything else, all systematically by design to make you submit to the New World Order. They're going to present this perfect utopia to the public. It'll be a one-world currency, and that RFID chip I told you about, the United Nations, okay, and all these globalist organizations like the World Health Organization, the IMF, International Monetary Fund. What's up, Tom? What's going on, brother? They all design all plans to push a one-world currency. Now, it's not paper or money. It's not going to be cash or nothing like that. It's going to be a digital currency. And that's why all like Obamacare, right? When Obamacare was first presented, a lot of people are not aware of this. Pages 1001 and 1008 talked about a mandatory implant, a medical device implant that goes into people. That was the RFID chip. But Republicans fought to keep that out, and they did get it out of there. But the first part of Obamacare was to put that in play. But most universal health cares across the world have that mandatory thing. So eventually it's going to be mandated at one point. And that's why right now they're just scratching their heads because Obamacare's been abolished, and so right now they need the health care. And that's where they guise it as health care to sell it to the American people. You know what I mean? Because they need that system to implement the system. That's why in America, in Wisconsin, all that, they're glorifying this RFID implant, so you can walk up, log onto a computer, go to a door without touching anything, and they're going to sell the product. Basically, your whole wallet you have, credit cards, cash, and everything, will be all abolished. It'll be everything, all your medical information, all your financial information, will be all on that one chip. Sounds good. It does. It really sounds great. And you will never have to worry about identity theft or anything like that. And your whole wallet, everything in your wallet you could possibly have, will be rendered useless. It'll all be on that one chip. Scan saver cards, credit cards, the whole 9 yards. So they designed this whole system to do this, okay? Push a one-world currency, and that's why they got the Bitcoin out there. People out there, fools, are falling for this garbage. So Bitcoin has a future. We're fighting against the Federal Reserve. No, you're not fighting against the Federal Reserve or anything like that, or the IMF. All you're doing is buying into the propaganda. That's all you're doing. And people today still don't know who created Bitcoin or these cryptocurrencies. The cryptocurrencies are designed to make you believe that this is a rebel against the system, when all it does is indoctrinate you to make you accept a cashless digital society. That's what it's for. So people willingly accept this thing, and to push this cashless digital currency, and that's what they're doing it for. And so basically, they got the world religion set up, they got the world government ready to go, and they got the world economic system ready to go. All the groups are on this: the IMF, International Monetary Fund, World Health Organization, the United Nations, Council on Foreign Relations, the Trilateral Commission, the Bilderberg Group. I could go on and on. Okay, all these top globalist organizations, top globalist companies, corporations, media tech giants, all in on this plot. Okay, 98, maybe 99% of your world's leaders are all on this plot. They play a giant world stage. They go to war with each other, and both sides are funded. And that's how the Rothschild, going back quick to the 1800s, when England went to war with France. Okay, a lot of people don't know this. Well, the Rothschild funded both sides of the war. They gave them all the money they needed to, to buy weapons and everything else. So basically, when France was defeated by England, so they had the Illuminati's messengers get back to England to tell the people, hey, England lost the war. So what happened? All the stocks in England dropped to pennies on the pound. And so with the Rothschild, right away, they bought every stock there was, no matter what kind of stock it was. They bought every stock there was. So when the real military got back to say, hey, what are you talking about? We won the war. So now the stocks went through the roof, and Rothschild now owned England. You know what I mean? And they did the same thing in France, similar things, to take over France and now the European countries. That's how they got them, big riches. And they're doing the same thing with the Federal Reserve here in the United States of America. That's why JFK, right? Abraham Lincoln and JFK have one thing in common, is both of them knew about this plan and this plot to destroy this country financially and, to bring in this global governance. And both of them were against the Federal Reserve. That was the main reason why Abraham Lincoln was shot and main reason why JFK was shot. Now, JFK issued an executive order called 1110. It was to buy the silver billions. Now, when you bought silver billions, that money went back into a gold standard bank for the United States of America to do away with the Federal Reserve. That was his goal, JFK's. So they didn't like that because it went against everything the globalists were working for, many years and so much time and money involved. So they had to take JFK out. And that's one of the big reasons why they took him out too, which George W. Bush, H.W. Bush, the old man, being one of the leaders of the CIA at the time, had a big hand in the assassination of JFK. So yes, the assassination of JFK was a combination between the FBI and the CIA. It wasn't some wacko up in the tower with an M1 rifle. And it wasn't somebody in the bush. It was somebody, it was the people in the CIA and the FBI that took him out, plain and simple. Because if you look at all JFK's things, he was always targeting the CIA and the FBI as sinister organizations. He wanted to do away with them. So what this has to do with what I'm talking about, because what they're trying to do is economically, religiously, educationally, and push a global governance to put everything onto one world. Like everybody in the world will have the same chip, be under the umbrella of the same religion, and under this religion, you cannot say that Jesus is the only way to heaven. Churches will be shut down, and some of these countries that are under the system now, look at China. They're going literally burning Christian churches down, arresting people for dare to preach in Jesus. They're killing them all over the Middle East, in this country too. I mean, look at the persecutions going on, because you dare to say that Jesus is the only way to heaven. You dare to say that we honor a traditional family. You know what I mean? And they're heavily targeting Christianity, exactly what the Illuminati's goal was, because they seen Christianity as a major threat. So what they also did here in America, they went after the King James Version of the Bible. And so they created the NIV Bible and many other newer Bibles, and they strategically removed keywords, or removed them, or changed them, or took complete verses out to systematically change the Bible into this New Age belief to keep people dumbed down. That's why the King James Version and below the older versions are always under attack by today's dumbed down churches. Church, and any church out there, any religion or past that uses the NIV Bible in your church, you do not know anything about God or the Word of God. And I'm not going to get to that right now because it just disgusts me. Today, people in Christian churches, they celebrate pagan holidays, go to church on Sunday when it's supposed to be Saturday, but, that's a whole new ball of wax, a whole new video for that. But this is all designed by the Illuminati to destroy and dumb down religion and politics and education. And again, when they got into the schools, they took prayer out of school, okay? They took the Bible out of school over the years, you know what I mean? Then all of a sudden, a moment of silence was gone, and most places attacking one nation under God during the pledge now, they're taking that out. So, and now they're conditioning these children that you could have sex with anybody you want, whatever. You have nobody to answer to, and they're pushing evolution. Evolution was part of this program too, the Illuminati's program. Now, if you look at the people who pushed evolution, this is all to do what I'm talking about, to dumb down society so they can push a global governance. Evolution by Charles Darwin, okay? Now, Charles Darwin, he just continued the work from his grandfather. Now, him his father, his brother, and his grandfather, and his other brother all were into the Freemasonic lodges. They were not atheists. So I want to let people know now that Darwin is not an atheist, okay? And so what happened later, he even said that evolution is just a theory. That's all it is. And now somehow this theory is a fact, which is not. But later on, the Jesuits, okay, Charles Dawson, okay, he was a British paleontologist and also a Jesuit. Him and Pierre Chardin, okay, who was a Jesuit priest, they took over Darwin's work. They tried to push evolution through the mainstream and education system. Now, mind you, the scientific community wanted nothing to do with evolution. They thought it was a complete joke. It's not even scientific proven. We don't want it in our schools. We don't want it in our system. So what they did is they created the Piltdown Man, the missing link. It was a fake. They took a monkey's jawbone, broke the joints off, fitted it to the human skull, and buried it, and say, oh, look, to the press, look what we found. The proof that man evolved from ape. And it was just a jawbone, and it wasn't a full skull. It was ridiculous. So people bought into it. Oh, my God, so I guess evolution is true. And all of a sudden, a theory becomes a fact. Anything else, the theories are educated guess, whatever, it's like a hypothesis. Now, just only when evolution exists, when it pertains to evolution, all of a sudden, theory is a fact. Completely rewriting what the word theory means. So now they push this lie, and it was discovered many years later after Dawson was dead, that was an elaborate hoax. It was all hoaxed by the Jesuits, okay, to dumb down mostly Europe and the United States of America, and they did. Now, the colleges and the education system grabbed hold of this. That's why over the years you've seen Bible in the school, compared to evolution, start off with a couple thousand words, and it slowly went like this. BBB until anything to do with God was wiped out of the school books, and all evolution. And I challenge you, go back, find antique history books that they had in schools in 1700s, 1800s. You will see in those history books talking about God. Not 1 ounce of evolution. Evolution replaced God and kicked God out of there. That was designed by the Illuminati to do that, to dumb down a population, because they don't want you conscious. They don't want you to know anything. That's why they systematically dumb down people in the religions, dumb down people in the politics, and the education system. That was their goal, to destroy America from within, because they seen America as impenetrable. Imagine a computer, right? You got a computer or a laptop, it's indestructible. You can shoot it, hit it with a hammer, it will not break. You could throw it into the ocean, will not be destroyed. It's impenetrable. So they seen that as America. They could not destroy from America, because they even tried to restart the American Revolution with the War of 1812, and it failed. They wanted this country destroyed, the whole one nation under God type thing. So what they did is, the best thing to do it is you put a virus in it, infect it from within. And that's exactly what they have done. So that's why everything today, and it answers much of what everything today is going on, all the riots, chaos, revolutions all over the world, countries going at it with other countries. And the other thing too, Albert Pike, okay, talked about, who was part of this whole operation too. He devised a system of 3 world wars. Now, the wars were purposely created. Now, I want to let you know, people, this might be a shock to you. But if you think FDR and Hitler and Mussolini and the Japanese emperor and all these people were all enemies or whatever the case, no, you have no idea. Okay, this was nothing but a giant Hollywood production. Okay, and sure, yes, people died. I'm not saying that they didn't die. Okay, and if you think any of these leaders care about their own people, no, they don't. They could give a rat's ass about anybody. They would see their own kids in their own town, a school, get burned down while the kids die, and if it fitted their agenda, they have no remorse or care in the world. That's what these mass shootings, they don't care about kids getting killed, as long as it pushes their anti-gun agenda. But anyway, they did this purposely, back then, to create this illusion, and get all these countries funded. Now, mind you, the Rothschild and these bankers were funding everybody. Okay, everybody involved with World War I, they funded everybody, all of them. We'll give you weapons and money and everything else, and countries had no choice to do that. And so here we go. The war started just like the war between England and France, same thing. So it didn't matter who won. It did not matter who won to these people, because they owned all your countries. It didn't matter, because you were in so much debt to these bankers that it didn't matter if you won or lost. It wouldn't matter, because they owned your ass. All right? And that's why they own all the national parks here in America, the toll highways and everything else. They own the highways now itself, and they can do what they want because they own them, and they never tell the American people that. So they created World War One. Okay, it was part of the plan. 3 world wars. That was the intentions. Okay, First World War was to finally get get global governance. So they were to get the world to say, you know what, we need to have peace, and it was supposed to be the war. World War One was supposed to be the war to end all wars. That was the propaganda told to the public. To bring peace into the world, creating the League of Nations. Now, the League of Nations spawned up, and again, they tried to push globalist communist propaganda. Didn't work. So now, you've seen all this, the plans backfiring. So now we need to initiate Plan 2, which was World War II, because Albert Pike talked about the 3 world wars that had to be done to push global governance. And World War II, out of World War II, again, everybody was all funded by the same people, and so out of World War II created the United Nations, which is bigger than the League of Nations. Now, as the United Nations was created beforehand, right before that, you see many, many globalist organizations starting to come to play. Right in the Kremlin House out of New York City, that's where the UN was really created from. You had groups like the Council on Foreign Relations, the Trilateral Commission were the 2 biggest globalist groups created by David Rockefeller and Zbigniew Zabinski. I can never pronounce his name right, whatever, but they created these 2 communist organizations, globalist front organizations, to devise the United Nations. Now, the Third World War, which is coming soon, and you can see everything all heating up, and it's all biblical related and everything else, how the Third World War is going to happen. It's all by design. It's meant to happen, it's planned to happen, it's all financed to happen, and that's why you're seeing things heat up with China, Russia, and Japan, North Korea, England now, and Cuba, and all these other countries just going, there's turmoil everywhere, more than ever before, because they are gearing up for a Third World War. There will be a Third World War, because that Third World War brings order out of chaos. When in 9/11, when you go back to 9/11, right, they needed to push this along because they were behind the clock, okay? 9/11, and you can say what you want about 9/11, whatever, but it was not an Islam job. It was an inside job conducted by the CIA and the Bush administration. That's who did 9/11. Regardless if they used Muslims, whatever the case, okay? Planes did not bring the towers down. They were down by explosives, by design, and it wasn't a coincidence they picked 9/11. 9/11, when you get to the satanic ritual stuff, okay, the Illuminati, 9/11, a lot of people don't know what a 9/11 really is, okay? So, and this all ties in place. September 11th, 1990, go fact check this for yourself. September 11th, 1990, George Bush addresses the nation, talks about a new world order. 1991 comes, 1 year to date, talks about a new world order, okay? 11 years, which is 2001, September 11th, we had order out of chaos, 9/11, the Twin Towers coming down. What happened out of that? All of a sudden, airports are like friggin' draconian centers. I mean, you get felt up and groped and everything else to just go through the airport and some of these travel agencies, and most of your civil liberties were suspended. You know what I mean? They almost completely disavowed with the Constitution for your safety. You know what I mean? So 11 years to that day, on September 11th, 2012, Benghazi happens. What happened out of Benghazi? The formation by Hillary Clinton and John McCain, the creation of ISIS. ISIS was nothing more than Al-Qaeda, because they used Al-Qaeda as a boogeyman during 9/11. So people were getting wise to it, starting to realize it was a CIA front organization. They're the ones who created Al-Qaeda with Timothy Osman, known as Bin Laden. You know what I mean? Bin Laden had nothing to do with 9/11. And so now you had this Benghazi attack happen on September 11th, 11 years of the day. And again, every time, 9/11, 2001, 9/11, 2012, 9/11, 1990 and 91, all calling for a new world order. Not a coincidence. And it was order out of chaos to build up, because they were behind schedule, to push this to tolerant police state and new world order. So out of all that, what's going on today? You can't even travel. Now look at the national ID and everything. You can't travel in most states now. You cannot travel with the national ID card without it, or you're restricted from traveling. They threatened Rhode Island here. So now we have to comply by the end of the year here to get the national IDs, or we will not be able to get on an airplane to go anywhere in the country. So they are putting the hammer down on big time. So ISIS came along and everything else out of Benghazi, and it's all done by design. And if you look at the dates, folks, all the time, the dates of these major events, okay, they're all significant to occultic holidays, occultic events, and everything else. And 9/11, which is people need to understand, every 11 years there's a thing called a solar maximum. Now, the Luciferians, they go according to astrological events. Solar maximum is when the sun heats up. It expands and it goes through a solar cycle. It's a natural thing. It expands, okay, and heats up. And so what they do, the globalists cash on that too. So they institute a green peace initiative to try to, because again, FDR and Hitler and all them try to push the New World Order by force. Then they realize, no, we need to do it another way. We need to do it by peace. So all these years they try to push it through these peace initiatives, green peace initiatives. To save the planet, we all got to give up our civil liberties. We all got to pay a carbon tax and all that. So they, about in the 90s, that's when they started using that propaganda of global warming. But not telling the American public, or the public in general in the world, that the global warming was a result of a solar maximum. The sun heats up and it heats up the entire planet. Nothing to do with the CO2 or nothing. It's a natural cycle. Then about a year or two when it starts going back down to normal, you get normal. So that's why here, if you notice every 11 years, you'll see right after September 11th, every 11 years, you'll see 2 years, maybe 3 of hot weather in the winter. Then it goes back to normal again, and you have record cold temperatures again. And you notice how it shifts from global warming to climate change. Back and forth to fit that narrative and agenda to make people think there's such thing as global warming and climate change. You know what I mean? It's all part to make you pay a carbon tax and give up your civil liberties. That's what it's for. And it'll be civil war between Antifa and Democrat. Yeah, that's for sure, brother. And so they push all this propaganda to make people believe in this garbage fairy tales, so you're willing to give up your civil liberties. And that's why you've seen all this stuff going on, folks. I mean, you have these people in these colleges and all that, they think they're so smart. They'll sit there, I have a master's from Harvard or Yale or whatever the case, when that means nothing no more. It really doesn't. In education, with these degrees and all that, sure, you got to be smart to get them, no doubt. I'm not taking that away from them, but the thing is, it doesn't mean you're really smarter. It means you're more indoctrinated than the next person. That's all it means, because when I was in school, when I was learning all this stuff, I thought I was smart. I was sitting there correcting teachers, acing my exams and everything else, and I thought I was real smart. Come to find out, years later, wasn't smart. I was just more indoctrinated than the next kid. That's all I was. So it killed my ego real quick, when I finally learned the truth about things. And being smart was able to me to start challenging things. Then when I got to learn about the Bible on my own, other than with the crap the churches teach, then I started learning about secret societies and learning what the occultists are doing, learning about all these fake religions and occults and everything else, and the picture starts getting clearer. These fake glasses of illusion over your head, they start to come away. The veil starts to lift off, and you see the world for what it really is. The best way of perspective I'm going to put it in, anybody remembers the old 3D glasses? You had the red on the right eye and blue on the left eye. I know it's opposite in the camera, but that's what the world wants you to see. There's only red and blue, that's it. But when you take off those glasses, you see a whole broader spectrum of colors that you've never seen before in your life. And that's what this whole truth movement's about. And the damn allergies too. But they want you to believe that's what only exists when there's more, They don't want you to believe, think outside the box. So the public schools, okay, they don't teach you how to believe, okay? They teach you what you're going to believe, and that's it. And anything else, you are a terrorist, you're a bigot, racist, you're every word in the book, okay, every term in the book that will discriminate you, as the orders of the Illuminati over there, he's talked about, infiltrating all these institutions, the religious education, the government systems, and the financial systems, infiltrating these things to suppress them and destroy them from within. So out of all this chaos, they could create this one systematic order that's a one-world education, religion, economy, and everything else under their roof, which is totally Luciferian. Now, they present this as world peace, and that's why a lot of people buy it. And the normal press, when they hear world peace, of course, who doesn't want world peace? Who doesn't? When Muslims and Christians and Buddhists are not fighting no more, everybody's under one banner. but that's not world peace, folks. The world peace that the UN and the world's offering is fake peace. Jesus said, too, there's a difference between the peace I can offer you and what the world can offer you. He said that. It was very prophetic. He talked about these things to come. Now, this is where the religion takes part of this. And again, regardless of what you believe, this is what the elite believe. And I'm going to give you a little secret, too. Let me let you in on a little secret. Okay, the elite of the world, like I said earlier, they're not atheists. And if any of you think any of these people, like Da Vinci or these philosophers and artists and all these famous people throughout history, if any of you at all think that any of these people are atheists, no, they're not. The elite of this world are literally Luciferians. That's not up for debate. That's a fact. So regardless of what your philosophical belief is, that's irrelevant at this conversation here. Their systematic goal from what I explained about the top priorities of the Illuminati was to systematically destroy God from this country. And that's exactly what they're doing. So what they're trying to do is to push this global one world system to bring about their new world order, to bring about their antichrist. Now, the thing is, here's a secret that a lot of people don't know. The elite, okay? Now, let me put this in the pyramid spectrum, okay? All right, you got the top of the pyramid, okay? You got the global elite, okay? The people under them do not know this stuff. They know a lot, but more than the people down here, and it just goes down the pyramid. The people at the bottom think they're in some kind of a high priority. They have no clue at all what the hell's going on. They're lied to just as much as the one above them and all that. But when you start getting to the echelon levels, to the perfect cornerstone, okay, you have no idea of what the reality is, okay? They have different levels of cults and everything that distort things and everything else. Even they're confused. It's a giant big confusion purposely to mislead people and to keep only the adepts, okay, in the know. And that's what they do. And so basically in all these orders and the cults and everything else and some of the secret societies, the low levels, whatever, they teach people garbage, okay? Like when you get into Freemasonry, okay? And I'm not bashing Freemasons out there. I got a lot of friends who are Masons, and most of the Masons are very good people. And it's just at the top that they have, a lot of these guys have no idea. So I'm using this for example. You get told the OCNI is an eye of God, providence. It's not, no. Then you got to learn later, it's actually the eye of Horus. No, it's not. Not the eye. You eventually learn, if you go to Albert Pike's books and Manly P. Hall and all these cats there from prominent Masons, you learn, hey, it's Luciferian. It's Lucifer, you know, the 1,000 points of illumination, exactly what it is. But I'm not here to talk about that. That's I'm using it for example. And so that's what happens in the world's elite, okay? So all these cults get told there's no such thing as God. They promote deism big time. And even the ones that do believe in God, it's distorted, or the cults. But the top levels, okay, the top Luciferian elite, they believe in the Bible 99%. They'll never tell anybody that. They'll say the Bible's fake or it's BS. They'll never tell anybody that. But they know they have to fulfill their part of the bargain to bring Lucifer on the planet in the form of the Antichrist under this global government religion about the UN setting up and everything else. They know they have to do this. This is an Illuminati goal from the 1700s and before that, dating back to the first builders from Nimrod down, back to the the Tower of Babel. It's so much information. It could be here for hours. I'm just trying to limit it, squeeze it into one. I could actually do a 6-hour documentary and I would touch the tip of the spear. It's amazing. And so basically they're trying to push this new world order, global governance, and the top elite, they believe in Lucifer. Now, again, they don't tell the low levels this. Even though some of the low levels do believe in Lucifer too, they believe in some of the same ways, but only the adepts, the people in the know, okay, the hierarchy, okay, they believe the Bible 99%. They know Jesus is the Son of God. They know Jesus is coming back. They know this whole apocalypse and everything is going to happen. But the only thing is they foolishly believe that 1%, they foolishly believe, again, they believe 99% of the Bible, that 1%, that they believe that Lucifer is going to overthrow God in about Armageddon. That's what they believe. And again, you could call it fantasy. You could say, it's all BS, whatever. It's irrelevant to what you believe, because the people who run this planet, as the Bible says, Lucifer is the prince of this planet until he comes back, until Jesus comes back. So regardless of what you believe is irrelevant. And I don't mean to sound cocky or a jerk about it, but this is what they believe, and this is what they're pushing, and this is what's going on. Exactly, and everything I read to you earlier, the 5 top priorities of the Illuminati, everything by Adam Weishaupt and people like Karl Marx and Manly P. Hall and Albert Pike and all these people, everything they talked about in that world dominant plan is coming true to the letter. To the letter. I mean, you could just look at the news, spend 20 minutes looking at the news right now, stuff going on all over the world. You'll see it right there in the orders of the Illuminati, the priorities of Sion, the Communist Manifesto, the Agenda 21 from the UN. It's all the same garbage, you know what I mean, for world dominance. And again, you get different levels and versions of it that goes out to the public. And by the time it gets to the public level, people think it's a good thing because it's worded different to sound like a beautiful utopia. It's not, okay? It's a hellish, satanic, Luciferian New World Order. That's exactly what it is. Nothing to do with world peace. It's total slavery. That's what it is. And that's what they're pushing. And so when they push this thing, okay, and, according to the Bible, it's going to be a short time. It will happen. They will get the New World Order, but only on God's timing, and it'll be a very short time. So now people say, well, now we sound like we went from history to church. Well, again, that's why they separated in this country religion and politics and school and all that. They separated everything when it was like this before. All those things were all one before. They taught all this stuff in, not the cultic stuff, but Bible, history, and religion and politics all together in one school, for hundreds of years in this country. And a 12-year-old knew the Bible and reality better than most people, adults today. College graduates, okay? 12-year-olds knew better and more than college graduates today, college professors today. You know what I mean? They knew more than them because people are so systematically dumbed down by design and all to bring in this New World Order. And the thing is, that's why, anybody's seen the 10 commandments of the New World Order. The Georgia Guidestones, regardless what, who put them there, whatever the case. But all those are just regurgitations and reworded versions of the 10 orders of the Communist Manifesto and the priorities of Sion and everything else. That's all it is. And it's just reworded in modern day text, basically. And so basically they do want to reduce the world's population. They have depopulation courses in college now. They have these things, and they're teaching high levels of government how to actually depopulate the planet. You have people like Bill Gates and all these people who medically depopulate the planet by pushing the vaccines and everything else. It's all connected because the Agenda 21, the United Nations, it's about sustainability, about population, about global governance, all mixed together because they want a perfect New World Order. They don't want you to share it with nobody. They want to limit the population down to about 150 million people. Now, listen. 1.5 billion people. There's over 8 billion people on the planet right now. So that's a lot of people they plan on killing. Now, I'm not saying all those people are going to die if it's going to actually happen, but that's their goal. That's why they pushed eugenics back in the 1930s. That was a huge push back then. Back then, here in the United States, you could not get married without a eugenics certificate. And even though you were healthy and perfectly mentally sane, and your wife, if you say her brother or one of her nephews had any deformity of mental disease, whatever, they would not allow you to marry. In fact, they would sterilize her from ever reproducing. Everybody in that bloodline gene pool. That's where Hitler got some of this stuff too. It's all... That's weird. Anyway, it's all systematically designed to the eugenics movement, and again, it morphed, which today is Agenda 21. And eugenics was a big, big part of this country's history, and it was very, very disgusting what they did to people. And again, they're trying to use this stuff. And Bill Gates, back in 2010, he was at the TED conference, and everybody knows what the TED conference is, TED Talks. And he comes up with this idea how to reduce global warming, how to reduce the carbon footprints on the planet. He says, openly says right in there, you could go check it for yourself, watch the video from the TED conference. He says to reduce the world's population, he had this equation, I should have brought it up here. He had this equation to bring down the CO2 on the planet. And it had humanity, actually, you know what, hold on, let me see if I can pop that up quick here. Hold on, give me a second. So I can show you what I'm talking about. So he had this idea how to reduce the world population. Let me see. Hold on a second, guys, because you got to see this. Talk population. I hope this thing comes up here. Oh, here it is, right here. It's probably because he mirror image. I don't know if you've seen the mirror image. This was his equation that he had on the screen at the 2010 TED conference. Now, they were talking about reducing the CO2 in the planet. Now, P is for people. That's what it's for. So now, when he says one of these numbers need to come down to zero, and when he said one of these numbers to come down to zero, he had this little sinister laugh, and you had all the globalist people in the audience. Just this, it's scary too. And it's like this sinister laugh because they know exactly what he's talking about. But to everybody else, and he won a Nobel Peace Prize off this. This is the conference that Bill Gates helped him win a Nobel Peace Prize off of. He was talking about the people when these need to come down and talk about eliminate a good portion of the people. And he said right out, we need to do this by pushing newer vaccines to eliminate the population. Openly said this. But yet people call you conspiracy theorists when you challenge vaccines. He's said in that conference we need to reduce the population by introducing new vaccines to the public. Openly said this in international TED Talks, and he openly said this, and he won a Nobel Peace Prize from doing so. So if people think it's conspiracy theorists, again, go back, you can watch the 2010 TED Conference. And he said that we need to reduce the human population to bring the CO2 levels down. And to do this, we need to push newer vaccines. Yeah, I'll get to that in a minute, John, because I made a mistake on the video, so I had to delete that. But yeah, so that's a system to push the global governance, to bring down the population. And plus, when you bring the population, you subdue them, you take the rights to defend themselves away, and you reduce the population, you have less of a resistance. Then you have dictators who run, and they're the only ones with the guns, and the only ones with the armed forces and everything else, so you have nothing. And it's Agenda 21, folks, anybody should be aware of Oxley and George Orwell's, okay? You read their books, Brave New World, 1984, okay? They knew this stuff, okay? They weren't writing just some fantasy fiction books. They knew this stuff. That was the playbook of the elite. Because if you read 1984, almost everything in that book, you see in it today. Brave New World, the same thing, or Animal Farm, or what I think it's called. You read these books, folks, everything in those books back then is happening now. They were revealing the manifestos, the Communist Manifesto, the Orders of Priority, Scion, and Illuminati's things. Their goals and operations, they were revealing it in those movies to tell people. And I don't know if that was them rubbing it down your throats. Either regardless, okay, that was a playbook of what the elite are going to do and are doing. So everything they said, I mean, it's all coming to par. And so there's a lot of truth in those movies. Because again, the elite love nothing more than to use movies, TV shows, and everything else to rub their agendas right down your throats, and most people don't even know it. And it's so sad and sickening when you watch these Super Bowl halftime shows, the Olympics and everything else, the halftime shows, the opening and closing ceremonies, the globalist propaganda garbage that gets rubbed down people's throats, and you got all the sheep and the people watching on TV in the stadium all clapping, oh, this is so awesome, this halftime show, world peace, oh, yeah. But yeah, don't mind that big dark lord coming out of the middle of the field, these demonic creatures and all this stuff, and then pushing this global propaganda, because people are so prone to it and desensitized, they don't know what's going on in front of their faces. Then you got idiots like Bill Gates pushing vaccines to kill people, openly saying it. But yeah, you talk about your conspiracy theories. Oh no, vaccines are fine, the fluoride in the water is fine. Oh, but back in the 1930s, the Mellon Company, okay, they were getting paid to take toxic aluminum byproducts from these toxic companies that make chemicals and all that. They took the byproducts. Not only did they get paid for it to take the toxic waste from them, they turned around and created sodium fluoride with it, put it out in the market and sold it as this great thing to help your teeth. It has nothing to do with teeth at all. Hitler used high doses of fluoride in the water to dumb the Jews down. That's why when you had hundreds of Jews to one Nazi, okay, these people were so dumbed down from the fluoride that they didn't know what day of time it was, you know what I mean? And it was sad, too, because the Jews could have easily overthrew the Nazis easily. Yeah, it's just all this stuff is tied in together. World depopulation, destroying economies, and I'm telling you, this is the next thing that's going to happen. Before I go here, I just wanted to try to condense this as much as small as possible. I know it's been like an hour. I don't even know how long I've been on here for, but it's been like an hour, and but I just wanted to disseminate this information down to the more. I mean, so hopefully people could understand this. I mean. So what's going to happen next? I'll tell you what's going to happen next, okay? Now, what's been going on lately? We've been having what? High records, all-time highs in the stock market, right? The Dow Jones has been at all-time highs. The stock market is going through the roof, okay? And yes, absolutely, it's a great thing. There's jobs out there and all that. Now, here's what's going to go on, okay? Now, let me use this. I'm going to paraphrase, okay? And this is why Jesus talked in parables, too. So people of all ages can understand what he's saying without misinterpreting it. That's why it took me years to understand that. Why does Jesus talk in parables most of the time? You know, what's the sense of that? Then I learned because so people of all ages can understand what he's saying without misinterpretation. So you give an example. So I'm paraphrasing here. All right, so how do you destroy people? Okay, you sell this fake gold idea. First of all, when people out there believe that investing your money into gold and silver and precious metals, it's going to help you during an economic collapse. It's going to help you during a natural disaster. Did it help the people in Fukushima in Japan? Did the people in Katrina and all these places, did gold or silver or anything help any of those, or cryptocurrency? Did any of these things help them at all? Not at all. Not one single bit. You know what does help you? Is starable foods, okay, non-perishable foods, ammunition, guns, survival gear. That's what helps you. Okay, those are the people who bought that stuff. Those are the people who kept alive and been able to sustain their family until things got back in order again. Gold and silver, you could have it all this gold and silver well. It's not going to help you one damn bit in one of those chaotic situations. And it hasn't. There's not one situation to prove otherwise. So people go foolishly invest your money into cryptocurrencies or gold, silver, whatever. It's a joke, okay, because the elite are using that. So people, that's why China, because they're afraid of China's economy. That's why China's scooping up all the gold. They're buying all the gold because they think during this worldwide economic collapse, they're going to be the only ones with the riches now. It's all systematically by design. Okay, even the Bible talks about this, how people throw their gold and silver out the window because it'll be worthless. It happened before, and it's going to happen again. So under this world economic system, now gold and silver, that's been gone, the gold standard and all that's been gone since the 1930s. All right, so it's all fiat currency. It's fake, okay? It's not even backed by nothing. The money in our pockets is backed by nothing. All right, they're doing this to push this global cyber currency, this digital currency. So once you get this currency, okay, this world economic currency, it's digital currency. That's what it is. It's backed by nothing at all. Nothing. It's just digital. They have all the money in the world, the elite. They don't need your money. They don't want your money because it's not real money. But they use that to control the population. So what happens now to get to this point of what I was trying to explain earlier today, when I'm beginning this video about this economic push, this order out of chaos to push this global governance. Number one is they need to get rid of God, the Second Amendment, meaning the Constitution in general, and number three is to destroy the economy. They've already done everything else I mentioned, and that's the last three major roadblocks before the New World Order. So now with the currency, again, we've seen all these record highs. Now pay attention, right? Now again, paraphrasing, okay, just say you got a ladder, right? You go up, you just say this ladder has 10 steps, right? And you go up 1, 2, maybe 3 steps. Somebody kicks the ladder, right? You fall on your butt. It's not going to hurt. You go up 4 steps. Same thing, it might hurt a little bit, but you can get back up, you know what I mean? This is the economy I'm talking about, okay? So now you build the economy up to 10 steps. Now the economy is up to the 10. Right now, as we speak, the economy is right about the 10, going to probably another step now toward 11. So now we are up here, okay? So now when the globalists are ready, they're going to put the hammer down, and guess what's going to happen? You're going to be at the top of that ladder. So they sweep the ladder right under your feet, and you got to come crashing down, and you're not getting back up because every bone in your body is going to be shattered. So what's worse, falling from 2, 3 steps and getting hurt, just a little bruise, or 10 steps at the very top of the ladder and shattering every bone in your body, economically speaking? That's where we are right now, folks. We are at the 10th step. We're at the top of that ladder right now. All right? And so at any time, And I'm not going to be like one of these wackos like Lindsey Graham and Williams, whatever these people is preaching economic disasters and all that. No, nobody knows when it's going to happen, but it will happen, okay? And that's what their plans are, to get you up to the top of the ladder. Then they're going to sweep that ladder from underneath you, and you're going to fall, okay, at a very high height, the economy, and crash completely. So now those people out there, now when this economy's crash, it's going to be worldwide economic, not just the United States. So there's people out there like China and all these people that buy gold, silver, and all this cryptocurrency. Oh, no matter, we got the gold, we got the silver, we got the cryptocurrency. Guess what? When the IMF and the Global Elite move in, initiate the World Economic Plan and the RFID plan and all that, your gold, your silver, your Bitcoin, your cryptocurrency, your precious metals are going to be worth absolutely jack crap. Plain and simple. It's going to be worthless, okay? And again, if you do want to invest in stuff, and I advise people to invest in stuff, because there will be an economic crash, there's going to be natural disasters, all this other stuff. The only thing will keep you and your family alive and fed and safe from looters and everything is storing up weapons, ammunition, non-perishable foods, survival gear, water, just little things like that. That's what's going to keep you and your family alive, not gold, silver, cryptocurrency. So people out there wasting your time on cryptocurrency, I did a whole video on that. It's just ridiculous, people wasting their time and energy on something stupid that was designed by the elite just to fool people like you, to make them believe that you're fighting against the system, when all you're doing is buying into the system, that the propaganda they want you to be in the first place. So that cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, is nothing but a fraud. The great gold rush is a great gold hoax. That's all it is. And yes, let me see the comments here. China did this to us a few weeks ago with our market by deflating its money. Yeah, I remember that. I didn't check that video out, Jonathan, yet. Yeah, they do laugh and snarl everybody, Richard, you're right. When we talk about the TED Talks there. But that's what they're going to do. They're going to let the economy go up to the very pinnacle of it could possibly go. Then that's when the New World Order comes in. Pop! You fall down, boom, economies crash, and you have no choice to accept this global currency, because there will be nothing else out there. Yeah, gold and silver, you could go to any store with it. They'll be like, yeah, right, we don't take that. We take the IMF's digital currency. That's it. Your gold and silver is useless to us. There's no value at all. And under this world economic system, then those people out there, oh, well, I got Bitcoin, oh, I got a cryptocurrency, oh, I got all this money. Well, we don't take it. We only take the International Monetary Funds, the United Nations global currency. That's all we take, and that's all we can take. And so now all these people invest all that money, time, and energy into all this precious metals and all that. Yeah, the precious metals and all that, but transition value, they're going to be worth nothing. Plain and simple. And so the only thing that's going to buy you something is that global currency. And unfortunately, that's when you are going to be susceptible to take that mark of the beast. That's exactly what it's for. And it's beyond the politics, beyond anything. It's all to do with a spiritual agenda, to destroy humanity and destroy anything to do with God and His whole entire planet, to bring about a new world order, to push a Luciferian utopia, a new world order, Orwellian to tolerant society. And if you do not cooperate with the government without this chip, you will not be able to have a job. You will not be able to drive a car, obtain the driver's license. You won't be able to buy any food or anything at all, or even pay rent or anything. You'll be totally blocked out of society. Then there's going to come a point, which is in the United Nations agendas too, that's going to be mandatory for everybody to cooperate with this stuff. And what the Bible says, okay, well, at this point in time, now I'm taking the Bible and real world events and mixing it together. And the globalist elite plans, all three of these things fit in history. All four of these things go hand in hand when you cross-reference them. Not one deed or error at all. All of them match completely of what's going to happen. So if you refuse this chip and you get caught, guess what? You're done. They're going to kill you, because they don't want nobody, what's up, Kamino? They don't want nobody in their system that doesn't cooperate. Unless you worship the Luciferian Baal God, the demonic Moloch God, you are not part of the system. If you dare to preach that Jesus is the only way to God, you will be killed. Look what's going on in China right now. Perfect example. Middle East and everything else in this country too. Christians are being attacked. I mean, it's all a plot to destroy Christianity, completely remove God out of the face of the earth, and the fake God that they teach with this world ecumenical New World Order religion by the United Nations, the Pope, that's not God at all. When the Pope says, when he has his ecumenical movement meetings, right, he has religious leaders, hundreds of religions, all in one place, to say we all worship the same God. We are all going to heaven. Doesn't matter if you worship Buddha or this one or that one, whatever the case. You don't really need Jesus, that we all going to heaven. No, that's not what the Bible says. There's only one way to heaven, that's through the Son of God, Jesus Christ, Yeshua Messiah. That's the only way you're going to go to heaven. And don't let anybody tell you anything different. And for me saying that in the future, I mean, if I was then to say that when all this stuff's implemented, I'd be killed instantly. No doubt about it. You know what I mean? It'd be against the law to preach something like that. And that's why the Pope's going around with his blasphemy. I mean, I truly believe 99.9% that this man is the false prophet that's talked about in the book of Revelation. The false prophet that brings the world into this one world religion, because he's done this. The UN's adopted his ecumenical movement as an official one world religion, and he's the man that will adorn this man to come into power from the third temple in Israel. When his third temple is rebuilt, this political figure is going to come out of that temple. And the Pope's going to declare him God, because he's already got the one world religion set up, the one world government, the economy, everything's ready to go. So when this man rises to power, and he's going to put an end to terrorism, he's going to make it look like it's all peaceful and everything, he's going to put the end to hunger, do all these miraculous stuff, then the Pope's going to adorn him right in the temple of Israel, and the whole world's going to see this. As this guy is Jesus, he's the Messiah. He's what the Jews have been waiting for. The reason, the whole entire purpose of the Jews trying to build that third temple right now, and they got the red heifer and all that, the whole reason for that is to bring forth their Messiah, which they don't know yet that Jesus is the Messiah. They think the Messiah hasn't come yet. That Messiah coming, folks, the whole world's got to be part of this. The whole world's got to do, even Muslims, okay, Buddhists, Hindus, all of them are going to adorn this one man as the Messiah. Every one of them. Every religion, even the temple is set. They're going to adorn this man as the Savior, the Christ, the Messiah. But he's going to be the Antichrist. And that's when many Jews are going to finally figure out, wait a minute, damn, I made a mistake. He's already came. Then Jesus comes shortly after that and lays a smackdown on this whole system. So that's the plot. I mean, again, the Illuminati foolishly think during that battle of Armageddon that Lucifer's going to overthrow God. That's why they serve him, because Satan, Lucifer, Beelzebub, whatever you want to call him, Apollo, whatever, he had many names throughout the ages. He convinces his own people, his own fallen angels, that they have a place in his kingdom when he takes control, full control of heaven and earth. He's promising everybody a place in the kingdom. And the thing is, and if he did get his way, he would kill you. He would knock you out there because he can't stand humans. Even the ones who faithfully serve him. You people out there who serve Lucifer at the top, he cannot stand your ass, okay? He will execute you at the second he gets a chance. As soon as you're done with his bidding, you're gone. Plain and simple. And anybody that's come out of Luciferianism, Satanism, okay, I have family members who were in the occult. I was in the occult myself, unfortunately, and but I have friends and family who were in high levels of the occult. And when these spirits were done using these people, they push you out. They don't care about you, and they don't live to their promises. I'm telling you. So that's what they're going to do. And but they foolishly believe they're going to overthrow God, which is a lie, and. So we know what's going to happen. The Bible has the end game right there. There's going to be the biggest smackdown in U.S. history. Somebody just, Maria Albuquerque, Illuminati, does it really exist? Somebody just messaged me. Yes, they do. And I'll get to you in a minute on the messenger. But yes, and if you think the Illuminati is a conspiracy theory, or they want, and the thing is the colleges, right? Some colleges here in America, right? Some of them will maybe touch on the Illuminati, or if somebody brings it up. Oh, you get some professor, because he's got a master's in history or whatever. Oh, no. It was a secret society. They didn't want to admit that, but when they do, it was a secret society, but they don't exist no more. They were abolished and killed off. No, they were not killed off. okay? And they had a major role in European history and a huge role in American history. And so, and they still do today. They're big influences on many presidents. They control the world's elite, okay? And you've got many levels you have the Council of 300, which is the top level elitists in this planet. And above them is you got the Committee of 13. I think it's the other way around. Committee of 300 and the Council of 13, I'm sorry. The top 13 are they're complete Luciferians. And and believe it or not, I mean, a lot of people don't understand, okay, the spiritual aspect. And if I was to tell you that, you'd probably just shut this video off and laugh at it. But these people, these top levels of government, and you heard about now it's not a mystery no more because this is huge on the History Channel. Ancient Aliens, okay, this is a big show. It's one of the best rated shows ever on the History Channel. Even atheists and evolutionists cannot deny this, okay? The History Channel has got the highest ratings of all time from the show Ancient Aliens and all these UFO shows. Now, yes, they reveal, you might think it's stupid or sci-fi or whatever, that these things work with our governments. No, it's not fake, okay? Yes, they do work with our governments. They give our governments technology in exchange for certain things and everything else. They help them along with the plans. But the thing, here's the secret. They're not aliens and UFOs. They're not from Mars or other planets, no. They're fallen angels and their offspring, called the Nephilim. That's what they are. And so people don't understand that. And they go, because they're pushing this. Everywhere you look, every movie they're pushing about a zombie apocalypse, aliens and all this stuff happening, because they're conditioning people. So many movies about aliens. You can't get away from alien stuff and UFOs. You can't. And so when this does happen, now the book of Revelation says this will happen. Churches will not touch this with a 10-foot pole. I think it's Revelation chapter 13, I believe, or 14. But anyway, in the book of Revelation, okay, it talks about the false prophet, which is the Pope. They're going to reveal to the entire world at one point that the 3 unclean spirits that look like frogs, and they're going to cause great wonders in the sky. What does that sound like to you? Reptilians, UFOs, aliens, and they're going to cause a worldwide, it's going to be a worldwide thing, you know what I mean? The whole world's going to stop. Everything, the whole presses, everything's just going to stop in its tracks when these so-called aliens reveal themselves to the world. This is part of the New World Order agenda. It's called the Great Deception. When people think that these are our creators, these aliens come to this world to help us, save us, and come to find out they're not aliens at all. They're nothing but fallen angels and deceiving spirits. That's what the Bible calls them. But, it's funny because churches won't touch that with a 10-foot pole. And you'll never see that. Churches even talk about that. I've been to so many Bible prophecy conferences. They left out anything to do with the New World Order, anything to do with what I told you about in Revelation, about the 3 unclean spirits that look like frogs, how the false prophet will reveal them to the world, the great signs and wonders in the skies. They don't touch that with a 10-foot pole. Because they've been massively deceived, like I said, the colleges and all that, been hijacked and infiltrated to keep knowledge down to a minimum so pastors and priests and all that know about this much Bible. They teach about that much Bible, if that, when there's this much Bible, you know what I mean? And they won't touch that stuff with a 10-foot pole. You go to any Bible conference or any prophecy conference, they will not tell you any of this stuff because they don't know it. You know what I mean? And it's right in the scripture, it's right in history, right in our faces right now as we see it. Part of the New World Order's plans and all that stuff. So, people need to wake up. And so let me just check some comments here. If you're mining Bitcoin, sell as soon as you earn paid seeds. Yeah, you're right. Richard Doherty says, if you're mining Bitcoin, which I totally agree, if you're mining Bitcoin, sell it as soon as possible. Whatever payout you got, get it and cash out and buy food, seeds, guns, ammo, wind turbines, and water generators with it. Exactly, because that's the stuff that's going to keep you alive during an economic or a natural disaster. Because gold, silver, Bitcoin, and all that, we could have earthquake, hurricane, tornado, economic collapse. None of that is going to keep you and your family alive and fed. None. It's not going to protect you from looters. It's not going to keep you food in your mouths or water in your stomachs. You know what I mean? It's not going to do that. People who store up, these. That's why they made that show. It was what the hell was it called? That TV show they had for a while was about survivalists, preppers. Okay, that show called Preppers, and they made fun of them. You know what I mean? They made the show to purposely make fun of these people. All these people were lunatics or look at these conspiracy theorists that spend all their time and money to store up shelters and food and everything, make them look like wackos. That's why they came out with the show, to try to quell the uprising of people actually prepping for a disaster. So to make it look stupid, so people don't invest into this stuff. But unfortunately to you, okay, anybody who thinks these preppers are morons and retarded or whatever, unfortunately for you, that if a disaster was hit tomorrow, a cataclysm, an earthquake, or whatever the case, they're the ones who are going to be sitting pretty, putting food in their family's stomach, living off what they have, and be able to protect their homes and everything from looters and all that, while your dumbass, okay, is sitting there with your cryptocurrency or your gold and coin, gold, silver, and precious metals, sitting there twiddling your thumbs, wondering why looters are coming into your house, busting to stealing all your stuff, and you don't even have anything anyway to keep yourself alive for more than a day, or whatever's in your refrigerator or cupboard. You know what I mean? So now who has the last laugh? You know what I mean? So people need to understand that. So if you got cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, get rid of it. Okay, go buy something that's real, like storable foods, water, and survival gear and all that stuff. That's what's going to keep you alive. And even when we get to the biblical aspect about this, when I talk about this tribulation period coming up, okay, it's going to get ugly. Okay, people who do not take this RFID chip, I mean, you will have a choice to live off the land, or because you're not going to be able to go into a store and buy anything unless you have that chip. You can have all the gold in the world. You can come to the cashier with a truck full of gold to say, hey, just give me a loaf of bread. Well, sorry, we can't accept it. Only International Monetary Fund currency, the digital currency, the only thing we can accept. Oh, wait a minute, I have $300,000 of Bitcoin. Could you take that? Nope. Only International Monetary Fund. And again, I try to tell these people that buy into Bitcoin, they're so droned into that theory that it's going to work and it's against the system, when it's nothing but the system using that to condition people into this digital currency, cashless society. But yeah, the meek shall inherit the earth, exactly. But yeah, I just wanted to get that out there and talk about that tonight. I hope I reached out to a lot of people with the truth here, and I know it's earth-shattering information, and it sounds crazy, and I do not blame anybody if you think I'm a nut or wacko or whatever. Yeah, God bless you, you know what I mean? But, you know, unfortunately, you got to learn, like most people I've encountered over the years, that, hey, and it's not me being right, it's just because I know what's going on. I've read the white pages by the elite. You know, when they openly brag about what they got to do to you, they don't, right in your face, and you have no idea. None at all, because you're prone to believe the only thing that matters. Here's the average guy, right? Just you got a young guy, okay, 20s, okay, and a woman, same thing. What's on their mind? The average person, what do? They work during the week, right? What's on their mind for the weekend? Oh man, what shirt am I going to wear to the club? Oh, I got to go to the CD store or whatever. I got to download the latest track off this album. I got to look cool. The pop culture is the big thing. I got to look cool to the guys. I got to walk around with my bag at the mall to show everybody, look, I shopped at Macy's or whatever. I spent $40 more than retail for a stupid shirt at Macy's, you know what I mean? To walk around the mall to show, look at me, everybody. Look, oh yeah, I'm popular. Look, oh yeah, I got the latest Gucci on or whatever the styles they have on. I'm keeping up with the pop culture. Oh, yeah, here Britney Spears did, or Justin Timberlake, or whatever. And that's what it's all about, you know what I mean? And it's all about getting laid, going to the clubs. Let me see, what kind of shirt am I going to wear? What kind of shoes am I going to wear to go impress that girl at the club, some slut at the club, or some whoremonger at the club who probably has mostly contractual diseases. That's what it's all about to these people. And that's the only thing in their life is music. And the thing is, you talk to most people out there, people walk around all the time with damn earbuds in their ears. Constantly, at bus stops, everything else. Nobody interacts with people. They got the earbuds on, listen to all this music, garbage crap. Always going on social media or stupid sites, whatever. And you got guys out there actually just looking at porn right in front of people in public. It's disgusting, but that's okay now, and that's what society teaches you. And they're completely oblivious to reality, what's going on. I mean, you go to the registry, sitting there. Years ago, I used to go with my parents, and people talking to each other, conversing. You meet people. Oh yeah, become good friends with somebody. Then you got a new friend, whatever. Now today, it's like everybody's got their faces in their phones. You know what I mean? You go to the registry or anything like that where you have to wait a while, a doctor's office, nobody converses. Maybe a couple of people, that's it. Old school. But everybody's like, They're so social on the media, but when it comes to interaction with public, they're like scared of little rats, you know what I mean? And it is no social interacting, and it's all part of this propaganda and plan to just destroy humanity. But that's what the average guy and girl care about, is about what we're going to do for the weekend. How could I go impress this girl to get laid at this club or whatever the case, you know what I mean? That's what it's about. Sorry to sound vulgar, but that's exactly how people think. Or he's worried about what song's coming out next. Oh, I have to have this song or album, whatever the case. And these dumb movies out like The Good Boys, disgusting movie. Like American Pies and all that stuff, and that's the trash that people like to see. So they're distracted, all this nonsense that don't mean nothing. And I've run into people, young kids, like, oh, check this out. My son could quote, tell him all the people that are on the New England Patriots. Or tell him, list all Britney. I use Britney Spears a lot, for example. List all Dr. Dre songs, whatever, and they'll. No problem doing that. And they think they're so smart by doing it. But you ask them to recite one of the 10 Commandments. How about one of the Bill of Rights? What's freedom of speech? What number is that? Oh man, I think it's the Third Amendment. You know what I mean? But you ask them, name the main players on your football team. Oh, bang, 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 bang. Name the Simpsons characters. Bang, 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 bang. No problem. I did man on the streets before for InfoWars. I question people on this stuff. And I go at them with pop culture, and I go at them with, history stuff. And people are so smart to spit out bang, 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 when you ask them anything to do with any of this reality, like, oh, gee, I don't know, I think that was, ask them who the vice president was, like when Obama was in. And even though as much as people loved Obama, they could not know who the vice president was, Joe Biden. You know what I mean? It's just I did all these men on the streets, but it shows you how smart but stupid people are. And that's society. And that's where they make people, and that's why there's nothing being done about all this chaos going on in the world. Because people are falling for the propaganda, and I hate to say it, but most people are stupid. Okay? The kids in school today, and God bless those kids, and I do not mean any harm by saying this, but I don't care if your kids make an honor roll, okay? Most likely your kid's stupid, okay? Compared to kids were 100, 200 years ago. Because people say, well, we've got a lot of people passing the SATs. Well, but they don't tell you how they lower the standards to keep up with the passing grades, to keep the average. Look, we're graduating people passing these tests and all that, but they don't tell you they lower the standards in these tests so more people pass, to keep up with the dumbing down of America. They keep bringing the standards down as the people morally and educationally decline. You know what I mean? And that's how they keep up, say, oh, we have a smart culture. But if you look right now, look at the stats. The United States of America used to always be at the top 3 when it comes to IQ, when it comes to education, or anything to do with wits, okay? Now, we're not even in the top 20 in most of these things. We always continue to fall down at the bottom of the barrel. And we're not even in the top 20, and people brag about their college credentials. For what? They don't mean nothing. I mean, a high school kid knows more in Japan than a college graduate here in the United States. You know what I mean? And the education value here in this country is down in the pits. You know what I mean? But they brag about, oh, my son's a Harvard graduate. Really? Well, whoop-de-doo. You know what I mean? What does that mean? You know what I mean? It doesn't mean nothing. You know what I mean? And he's a graduate, but yet he can't recite 2 Bill of Rights. And I did that man on the streets. Guy is bragging about his history major and all that. You ask him historical questions, not a clue. Not a damn clue at all. What year was the Federal Reserve enacted? That's major history, 1913. You know what I mean? Major history. A major part of this country, the Federal Reserve, being enacted in 1913. Major part of this country. You ask historians that, from college professors, shoot. But I know when the Statue of Liberty came here, you know what I mean? Yeah, this is the dumb down of this country. It's crazy. So we need to start educating people in the right way. And it's getting late here. So, guys, I'm going to get cut off here. There's so much more to say. I could be on for another 6 hours. But, just sorry to sound like all over the place, but the whole point of this video is they are destroying not just this country, the entire world. And the whole point is people need to come to God, not through the churches, but through the Bible and pray to God alone. Not a pope, not a prophet or any of these people, but through Jesus Christ and God alone, okay, through Jesus Christ and the Holy Bible, the King James Version and older, the Torah and the Bible and all that. So that's where you need to go to know the truth. And I suggest you do that before you even start experiment of studying your enemy, because if you study your enemy, you look down in the abyss. If you don't have a spiritual anchor, you'll become part of that abyss real quick without that anchor. So it's a globalist plan indeed. Yeah, thank you, Richard. Thank you for staying on this long and listening to me just chatter here. And thank you all for tuning in. So check me out, truthradioshow.com. And also, I'm part now of Now You See TV. That's nystv.org. I'm on The Cutting Edge show with John Hall, a good friend of mine, a good buddy of mine too, John Pounders. Now You See TV on the Midnight Ride. Check them out every Saturday night at 11 o'clock Eastern here on YouTube. Now You See TV, their live show, The Midnight Ride. Our show every morning at 8 o'clock in the morning with John Hall, The Cutting Edge. Again, if you go to YouTube, nystv.org, you can subscribe to them or go to the YouTube channel and watch the live shows. And I'm happy to now be part of that network and as a correspondent for The Cutting Edge. And it's awesome. And I do my stuff too, truthradioshow.com. And I'm going to be going back on the air on terrestrial radio real soon. I'm just looking for a station out here right now. That's why I haven't been on the air lately. And do shows for 990 WBOB here and there. And you know what I mean? So I'm looking for a permanent home to do shows weekly and almost daily. So that's why I've been doing a lot of internet, because number one, on the internet, I don't have to answer to people. I don't. I don't need to answer to a producer or worry about what I say because the station might lose a sponsor. That's the good part about this. What's the worst thing? Facebook, they could shut me off. And I'll just go and open up another Facebook page and do it again. You know what I mean? No big deal. You know, that's why I keep my website. And people, before I go, listen, okay? At any time, because they've done it before, take out my Facebook pages, whatever. If you do not see me on the internet, okay, on Facebook, whatever, just go to truthradioshow.com. It's my central hub. It'll have all my information of where I am, where I'm broadcasting from, and everything else. So I use every social media platform I can. Twitter's really been hacking me, man. I tell you, Twitter, they shut down many of my accounts. I got one right now. It's Truth Radio Show, the number one, at Truth Radio Show with the number one. And anything I post my name with, they've been really banning my accounts because of my association with InfoWars for a while, you know what I mean? And they took out my InfoWars inside a YouTube channel. YouTube did. I'm surprised they didn't take my channel down, Truth Radio Show, yet. But there's Brighteon.com. It's Mike Adams' website there. It's like YouTube. It's awesome. Brighteon.com. But anyway, TruthRadioShow.com. If you never see me on Facebook here again, you'll know where I am when you go there. So, God willing, we're going to be able to keep broadcasting to people. And I'm just looking for a permanent, terrestrial radio talk show and everything else. But again, I think this social media thing is amazing because I don't have a producer tell me, oh, you can't say that because with the sponsor will get mad, or limit you in time, so you only have an hour to talk or 2 hours to talk, and we're going to go to commercial and everything. You know, I don't have to worry about any of that. So I love doing this, but I do love being on the radio because you do get out to people, because for some reason people take you more serious when you're on the radio. It was great being on terrestrial radio for years. Thanks, Jonathan. I'll check that video out too in a minute. Hey, I'll message you in a minute, John. But all right, guys. Yeah, that's funny. It happened to me too, Richard. My last YouTube Twitter, right? I opened another Twitter account, and within minutes, I got a message from Twitter says you're banned. You're not allowed to open any more accounts. And so I had to open this new one without my name associated. So right now it's still up, knock on wood. It's Truth Radio Show 1, the number 1. So you'll find it on there. So, all right, guys, I'm out of here. Love you all. God bless and shalom.